Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Sotah, page 32, which addresses the question that when we're engaged in prayer, we often hear a lot of the prayers are recited out loud. However, when it comes to arguably the most important prayer in Judaism, which is the Shemona Esrei, which literally means 18, corresponding to its 18 or later the 19 blessings that compose the Shemona Esrei, also known as the Amidah, because it means standing, because you stand in front of God when you recite it. One does not say any of these prayers out loud. Instead, it must be said quietly, to the point that if a person would say the Amidah out loud, it's actually incorrect. You're supposed to say it so quietly that maybe you could just barely hear yourself, but certainly no one else should hear it. Now, why not? Why is that a problem? On this, the Talmud answers this question. This question which is posed by the great Rav Shimon bar Yochai. And he says, the reason why it was instituted this way was on purpose. Because in this prayer, we mention things such as that we have sinned, that we have erred, we have made mistakes. And people will even sometimes include their own private prayers at certain sections. And on this, it becomes problematic, because if it's said out loud, it will potentially cause embarrassment and humiliation for that person. And if in fact that is the way you have to be engaged in prayer, then there's a greater likelihood that person may not actually articulate these sins and have the opportunity to possibly confess them or to really show remorse for what they have done, because they're so embarrassed that the people that are around them in synagogue listening to my prayers will hear all the things that I did, and it's going to be such an embarrassment to me. We see from here the unbelievable sensitivity that we have, that we do not want to do anything that potentially could embarrass another person. We actually have an obligation, so much so that it says that you're not allowed to embarrass a person, and if a person does, it's a very, very serious offense, akin to murder, to bloodshed. Now, in this, the Talmud says, if you study what went on in the temple, we find this as well. There are many different offerings that were brought. We'll mention two of them. One of them is an olah, namely an elevation offering, which was brought entirely on the altar. And this, for numerous reasons, could have represented an individual that wanted to give something of their own free will, which shows the greatness of that individual, that they're taking something, could be a very expensive animal, and they're dedicating it entirely to God, which shows great pride in their faith, and also great dedication. A second offering is a sin offering. If a person committed a serious crime, so under certain circumstances, if it wasn't done entirely on purpose, it was b'shogeg, so then there's a sin offering that's brought. Now, you could imagine if a person brings an animal, and one is, they're both sheep, even though one's a male sheep, one's a female sheep, but there's a great level of hesitation of wanting to go to the temple and to show the entire world that I did a sin. And therefore, it's explained that the process of bringing both of these offerings, which are almost on opposite ends of who these people are, that when they're slaughtered, when they're actually sacrificed or brought at the very beginning stages, they are brought in the exact same location. They're brought on the northern part of the temple. Now, why? Why do we do that? It's because for the same reason. We do not want to embarrass another person. And therefore, if this person is about to bring a sin offering, no one is going to point to him and say, that guy must be a sinner. This person, look at him, he's bringing a sin offering. He must have committed some horrible crimes. No, he's mixed in together with other people who are bringing this lovely elevation offering to avoid embarrassment.